village of Barrow Creek sat where maps forgot to finish their sentences. Fog arrived every evening like a debt collector. People locked doors early, not because of crime, but memory. 30 years ago, the well was sealed. No one spoke about why. Children were taught to count houses, not stars. Every house had a number carved into stone. Some numbers were crossed out. Others were doubled. I arrived as a census taker with a borrowed name. The elders watched my pen like a blade. They offered tea that tasted of rust. I asked how many lived here. They said, count what breathes. At dusk, bells rang without hands. Dogs hid under porches. The innkeeper, Mara, gave me a room with 2 locks. She warned me not to walk after dark. I asked about the well. She changed the subject to weather. That night, footsteps circled my door. No one knocked. The mirror sweated. I dreamed of numbers crawling. Morning brought a list under my door. Names I had not asked for. Some names were scratched thin. They want to be counted, Mara said. The first house belonged to old Tomas. He lived alone with a radio that spoke back. His number was doubled. He claimed his wife died twice. Once by fever, once by falling. He kept both dates framed. The second house was empty but warm. Bread cooled on a table. A chair rocked by itself. Its number was crossed out, then rewritten. At noon, the fog lifted enough to reveal graves. Not in a cemetery, in gardens, under doorsteps. Names matched the list. I asked the school teacher, Len. He taught 6 children. 7 desks were filled. 1 child never blinked. Len said attendance mattered. Bells rang again. A woman screamed by the mill. Blood made tidy lines on stone. The body was missing. Only a shoe remained. The villagers wrote a name. They crossed it out, then wrote it again. I followed chalk marks to the well. The seal was cracked. Cold breathed up from below. Rope scars circled the stones. Mara found me there. She told me the truth cost twice. Years ago, a ledger went missing. The tax ledger. It hid a crime. A massacre dressed as disease. Families erased for land. The well took the bodies. The numbers lied. The dead noticed. They came back to be counted. Night fell early. Shadows wore faces. A knock finally came. It was my name. Spelled wrong. I followed the sound to the square. The elders stood with lanterns. They asked me to finish the count. A man confessed to pushing his brother. A woman confessed to silence. Each confession wrote a name back. The fog thickened with voices. The well sang. I read the list aloud. Names rose like steam. Bones rattled beneath stone. The missing body appeared. It stood and waited. Justice demanded ink. At dawn, the village was lighter. Fewer houses breathed. More stones were crossed out. Mara packed her bags. She said staying means counting forever. I sealed the well again. The bells went quiet. The radio fell silent. The extra desk was empty. I left Barrow Creek. At the road, fog followed. My notebook was heavier. Names had added themselves. Some matched my family. I realized my borrowed name was borrowed from a grave. The list wanted me. I stopped counting. The numbers kept coming. At home, mirrors sweat. Footsteps circle doors. Bells ring without hands. I write to keep them calm. Ink is a kind of prayer. Each line a breath. Each pause a debt. Villages exist everywhere. Some seal their wells. Others count wrong. The dead are patient. They wait for totals. They wait for truth. I hear the well at night. It knows my number. It knows yours. Count carefully. Count honestly. Or be counted twice. The end is a ledger. The margin bleeds. The ink never dries. Names shift places. Houses breathe again. Fog learns new roads. Bells remember hands. The radio whispers totals. Chalk finds stone. Gardens grow quieter. Doorsteps listen. Shoes wait by mills. Lanterns dim. Confessions travel. Rope scars fade. Seals crack. Wells open. Numbers scrawl. Mirrors sweat. Lists slide. Ink pools. Breath counts. Silence confesses. Land remembers. Maps forget. Villages count. Dead notice. Truth costs twice. Payment comes due. Dusk arrives early. Dawn arrives then. Houses cross out. Names rewrite. The count continues. Somewhere dot tonight dot near you with fog. And bells dot and ink. Always ink. Always names. Always wells. always numbers, always dead, always breath, always silence, always truth, always twice. Count again, count better, count now. Listen, write, seal, pray, leave, return, finish, begin. Fog lifts, fog falls, bells ring, bells stop, lists grow, lists end, wells sleep, wells wake, names settle, names rise, ink dries, ink bleeds. Count breath, count truth, count cost, count twice. Barrow Creek fades, the ledger stays in your hands. Open it, close it, choose, count, or be counted again and again and again. The village listens, the well waits, the fog learns. The bells remember, the ink hungers, the names knock, the doors sweat, the mirrors breathe. Hold the ink, say the name, cross it out, write it back, pay twice, breathe once, count again. But well knows, the village remembers. Some villages bury their crimes, others count them, and some make sure the dead never stop knocking. If you ever hear bells with no hands, if fog knows your name, if numbers follow you home, don't ask who's missing, ask who was counted wrong, because the dead are patient, and they always collect.